Hey, what's up everybody? Guinea Piggies Designs here, and today I am going to be doing a squishy couch tutorial. You guys said on my last video you guys wanted to see this tutorial, so I just want to do a quick side note. This tutorial is definitely not recommended for beginners. This is more like an intermediate tutorial, and this tutorial is a pattern I created myself. Any of you do decide to remake this for your shop and resell it, I would appreciate it if you mention me in your listings or on your Instagram that you're using my design or my pattern. Some parts in this video are going to be complicated. They are going to be hard to understand. I really don't know of another way of explaining some parts in this video, so I'm so sorry if some of the steps that I do are confusing. Alright, so if you guys want to see how I made this squishy couch, go ahead and keep on watching. For the first step, what we're going to do is cut out our pieces. Here I have my couch pattern. I'm just going to tell you the measurements of each piece. So what I like to do first is I start out with the bottom piece, and this is also going to be used for your removable pad. And then this piece here is the part that goes to the bottom of your couch, and this piece here is the size of your arm, and then this piece here is for the pillows. I usually do cut the pillows a little bit bigger depending on the print, but they're about this shape. This circle piece here is for the arms. So I'm gonna first start out cutting out the bottom of the couch and the pads. I'm gonna first cut out 4 pieces of U-Haul for the pads. Your bottom pieces are gonna measure 15 inches long. So this way is 15 inches. And then the width of it going this way is 11.5 inches. So I'm gonna cut out 4 of those. And I'm gonna use my rotary cutter to get them nice and straight. Basically what I'm doing is I am following my pattern. Alright, so I got 4 pieces of U-Haul, and these are again to line my pads with. Now I'm going to cut out pieces of my bamboo batting here. My bamboo batting comes in a roll, so it's like double layered. So I'm going to cut out 3 of these. Pieces are going to be what you are going to use to line your couch and pads. Now we're going to cut out the fleece. For the fleece, I am going to be using this cupcake anti-pill fleece, and I'm going to match it with this solid pink anti-pill fleece. So what we're going to do now is we're still using our bottom piece here. We're going to cut out 3 of the pink and 3 of the cupcake here. This should be all the pieces you should have for it if you are making 2 removable pads with it. Alright, now we're going to cut out our top pieces. So this pattern measures 15 inches long, and the height of this, the highest point, is 11 inches high. So what we're going to do is cut out 1 piece of the pink and 1 piece of the cupcake. So I cut out 1 piece of the pink and 1 piece of the cupcake here. And that's basically the only 2 pieces you'll need out of this piece. So let's move on to the arms. This is my arm piece. My arm piece measures 15 inches long by 14 inches wide here. And I'm going to cut out 2 pieces of the cupcake print. Alright, so I went ahead and cut out 2 pieces of the cupcake fleece. So with this piece, that's all we need for the couch. So I'm going to set this aside. Okay, now we're going to measure out the circle piece. My circle piece measures 5.5 inches in diameter. So that's the size that I cut out, but I just want to side note, I do cut it out smaller once we get to that point. For the circles, I'm going to use the solid color. Went ahead and cut out 2 of those, and that's basically all we need with this piece, just 2 circles. And lastly, I'm going to cut out the pillows. Now my piece measures 8 inches by 6 inches, but what I like to do, I sometimes do like to make them longer, but this 8 by 6 is a really perfect size. So I'm going to cut out 2 pieces of the pink and 2 pieces of the cupcake. Since I'm making mine bigger, I'm just going to outline it a little bit bigger. Yeah, so I cut my square out 9 by 6, so I just made it a teeny bit bigger. Alright, so these are our pillow pieces. So I got 2 of the pink and 2 of the cupcake here. And then you should have 2 circles, and then 2 pieces for the arms, 2 pieces for the top, and then a piece for the bottom of the couch, a piece for the top of the couch. I got my bamboo batting to line the bottom of the couch. And then I have 2 pieces of the cupcake and 2 pieces of the pink with 4 pieces of the bamboo batting with 4 pieces of U-Haul to line the pads. These are all the pieces you're gonna need to sew your couch. What I like to do first is I like to make the pads and the pillows. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how I do that. For the pads, I'm gonna speed through this. If you wanna see a more detailed version of how I sew my pads, I will link my potty pad tutorial down below. The 2 potty pads. So the next step I like to work on are the pillows. So I'll go ahead and show you how I sew those. Alright, so to set up your pillow for sewing, what I'm gonna do is lay down the first piece, which is my solid color, and you want to make sure the good side of the fleece is facing you. So this is the bad side of my fleece, and then this is the good side. And then I'm going to take my cupcake fleece and I'm going to lay it on top of that, and I'm going to make sure the bad side of the fleece is facing me. So this is the good side of my fleece, and then this is the bad side. So that's pretty much it. Now it's ready to sew. So again, we're gonna do the same thing to the other one. Good side facing you, put the other one on. Bad side facing you. All right, and then if you want, you can go and clip around, put a few clips in it so it stays together while you sew. So the next step now is we are gonna go take them to the sewing machine. So let's go. So these are really similar to sewing like potty pads and all that. So what I like to do is I will start sewing right here and I sew all the way around and I leave a hole. So again, we can turn it right side out. Here I'm starting kind of a little bit below the middle. What I'm doing is I'm lining my fabric edge up to the edge of my foot. I'm gonna leave about like a 2-inch hole. So you see I didn't sew all the way around it. I left a little hole here so that way we can turn it right side out. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that same process one more time. Alright, so I went and sewed around both of the pillows. Alright, so now the next step, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut around the edges. we're gonna do is we're gonna turn them right side out. Went ahead and pushed out the corners and turned this one right side out. So this is how they should look. So now our next step, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start stuffing them with polyester fiberfill. Okay, so the polyester fiberfill, it comes in this big box here, the original polyfill. I'll have this link down below. This is what I use to stuff the pillows and the couch. So I just take about a little bit at a time and I start filling it up with that. So what I like to do is I first like to shove the polyfill in the corners. Went ahead and filled both of them. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and close up the holes. And to close up the holes, I hand sew them shut. I have my pillows done and my potty pads done. Now we're gonna work on the exciting part where we start working on the actual couch. So what I like to do first when I start the couch is I like to work on the arms. To prepare this part for sewing, we're going to go and fold our pieces in half. So you want to fold it long ways, and you want to make sure that when you fold it that the good side is on the inside. So this is the bad side. So we're gonna go and do the same thing to the next one. I'm going to go and sew a straight line all the way down on both of them just to keep them together. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And what I like to do is line my edge up to this black thing right here. So I went ahead and sewed both of them together. So now what I like to do is straighten out the edges and everything. What I first do is I cut off this extra long piece here. And then what I do next is I kind of trim off the edges right here just to make sure they're straight. I'm gonna go ahead and trim off just a little bit. So now we're gonna add the circle part. All right, so I have my two circles. We're gonna add these to the arms. Like I was telling you guys before, when I cut these out, I cut them out bigger than they need to be. So I need to make them a little bit smaller. What I like to do is I like to put both pieces together, and then I take my scissors and I just cut around it to make the circle a little bit smaller. Alright, so when I get done cutting around the circles, you should measure 3.5 in diameter. And you want to make sure that the good side of your fleece is on the inside, or the bad side is facing you. And all we're going to do is I'm going to do small wonder clips, and I'm going to clip it to the edge all the way around. Alright, so I went and clipped around this one. So now we're going to sew around it. So what I like to do is I sew on the pink part, I sew all around. So I'm going to go and show you how I do that. So what I do here is I just line the edge up with the edge of my foot. What we're gonna do is we are going to turn them right side out after you sew around them. So you just stick your hand in the other side like it's a sock and you turn it right side out. This is how your arms should look when they're done. So now the next step to the process is we're gonna attach the arms to the top part of the couch. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I do that. We're gonna attach the arms to this piece here. So to do that, I take the solid color and then I take the arm. And what you wanna do is find the seam, so that long line, because you want the seam at the bottom. And all we're gonna do is line up this seam to the edge here. Now you want your arm to be as long as your bottom. So again, the bottom of my couch was 8.5. So I wanna make sure this is 8 inches from the edge here to the edge of the arm. So I'll lay it out like that. So for the other one, you want this arm to face in this way. And then we're gonna find the seam at the bottom and we're gonna line that up to the edge down here. So this is how you should lay it out. So with the two arm pieces facing in like this. And for this part here, you wanna make sure the good side of the fleece is facing you for your back side. All right, so now we're gonna put the top on top of that. And you wanna make sure that the bad side is facing you. So this is my good side. This side is the bad side, the side that's facing me. So that's basically how we set it up for sewing. So I'm gonna sew a line all the way around, like a rainbow. All right, so when I sew, I start right here and I just line the edge here up to the edge of my foot and I just start sewing. Should look when you sew around it. So you see I just sewed a line all around. I didn't sew the bottom, just the top part. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip off the excess. Okay, so this is how it should look once you clip off the excess. All right, so now we're going to turn it right side out. Turn it right side out, it's pretty easy. All right, so now you can kind of see the top part of your couch is forming. So now we're going to add the rivets in the couch. I usually add 4. And what I really do here is I kind of eyeball it. I put one here at the top, right here, and then I measure down here and I put one over here, like a diamond. So we're gonna form a diamond shape. So I'm gonna show you how I do that. Okay, so for the divots, I use this stitch right here, which is number 26 on my machine. And I put it at 3.5 to make it smaller. So it's like a little wide stitch. All right, so right now I go to the upper top of my couch and I just try to find the center. All right, and then I start sewing. And then I usually go over it 3 times. I leave my thread here just so I can kind of make sure the lines are straight. So I put one about there. And now I'm doing the other one. I'm gonna try to get to the same distance away from this one. So you can measure to make sure you're accurate, but to save time, I'm just going to eyeball it. All right, and I'm gonna put one more towards the bottom. Now, for the bottom one, you just wanna make sure it lines up to the top one because you're making a diamond. Alright, so I went ahead and clipped off the loose thread. So this is how your divots should look. I got one here, down there, and one here. So it kind of forms a diamond shape. So after you add the divots, the top part is, you're pretty much done sewing the top part. Now we're gonna attach this part to the actual bottom part, and that part is gonna be really confusing. I don't know how to explain it, so I'm just gonna show you. So let's go ahead and attach this to the bottom. What I do first is I lay down my bamboo batting and then I lay down my solid color. And you want to make sure that the good side of the fleece is facing you. All right, and then we take our couch here and we want to put the solid color on top of the solid color. So like this. And you're going to try to center the bottom along the edge down here. All right, and then we're going to fold these in. So I don't know how to explain this part. This part may be confusing. Okay, so we fold the arm. You want to line up the arm to the edge here. Make sure the bottom of your seam is lined up to the edge. And then around the corners, you kind of want to make sure they're flat. So like right here, I'm pushing down the corner because I want to make sure it's flat because I'm going to sew around that. So the other arm, we fold it in like this. This is how it should be laid out. Now we're going to add our print. And I'm gonna put that on top of the couch. And you wanna make sure the bad side is facing you. So this is my good side. And then I'm making sure the bad side is facing me. And then I'm going to add my bamboo batting on top. What I do now is I sew all the way around it. I leave a hole down here. So I'll start sewing right here. I'm making sure you go through all the layers. And once you turn here, you turn the corner here. You wanna make sure you are not sewing. Make sure when you sew this side, you do not go through the actual top part. You only want to go through the arm and the fleece here and the fleece down there. but do not sew this round part. Do not sew that part you do not want to sew. Everything else though you want to sew. So I sew straight here, and then I sew all the way around. So here, make sure you go through the arm part, just the arm part only. And make sure you do not sew the round part. The round part you do not want to sew. And then I turn the corner, and then I stop right here. I make sure there's a hole right here. So what you could do now is clip it. I'm gonna go ahead and sew. All right, and then I'm doing a regular straight stitch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start kind of like you're doing a potty pad. I'm gonna start there. Right here, I'm gonna make sure I go through the fleece, this fleece right here. I'm gonna try to sew around this area, and I'm gonna make sure I go through the pink part. So I'm gonna sew around like that. All right, returning. So now here, when I sew straight down, I'm making sure I'm only going through the arm, this fleece here, and the pink. Okay, and then when I get here, when I turn, you want to make sure you do not sew through the arm right here. I'm just gonna tuck this back under to make sure I don't sew through that. You only want to sew when you're going down this line is through this fleece and the pink. And then I kind of stop there, and then I flip it over. All right, and so I try to make sure the arm is lined up right here. Okay, and I fold that back. All right, so that's where I started. So now I'm gonna start right here. We're just kind of repeating the same thing, but we're doing it to the other side. When you sew all around it, it should look like this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim around the edges. So when you trim all around it, it should look like this. So now we're going to turn it right side out. So to turn it right side out, you would grab your batting and the fleece right here, and then stick your hand in and pull it out. Or you could do the other side where you grab the batting or the fleece right here and stick your hand in and pull it out. So I'm going to do this side. So I just grabbed 2 layers right here, and the rest is on that side. So I'm just going to stick my hand in and pull it right side out. What I'm going to do now is push out the corners. Alright, so this is how it should look like when you turn it right side out. So it just basically looks like a deflated couch. Now we're going to start adding our polyester fiberfill. So what I like to do first is stuff the top area first. And what I do is I open the top layers, or the hole right here, the top hole, and I'm going to start shoving fiberfill in it. What I like to do is push the fiberfill to the top. So I like to try to fill the top of the couch first. And basically what you're going to try to do for the top is you're going to shove as much of this fiberfill as you can. You're going to try to fit as much as you can in it because you want it to be sturdy. Pretty much stuffed it full, the top. So this is how it should look. So now I'm going to stuff the bottom. Now the bottom, you do not want to stuff as much as the top because you want it to be squishy. I'm probably just going to put enough to where it kind of feels nice and squishy. I'm not going to overfill that part. So here, I'm just grabbing the bottom layers now. So these 2 were the top layers, and the 2 layers here, I'm going to put it in between my batting. That should be the layer we should put it in. See how the top here is really firm, it's not all that squishy, and then here it's really squishy. That's kind of the feel you want. That's how it should look when you're done squishing the top and the bottom. So now we are going to close up the hole. So there's going to be a hole on this side we're going to hand sew up, and then there's a hole on this side we're going to hand sew up. And then the last step, we'll stuff the arms and hand sew those. I hand sew up the holes the same way, and for this I'm only going through the cupcake layers. I'm not going through the pink. So keep that in mind. When you hand sew this part up, only the outer layers. look when you hand sew it up. That's the back of the couch. Now I'm gonna repeat that step to this hole right here. So I went and sewed the back and the front. So now there's no more holes. So now we're going to work on the arms. So what you're gonna need is a seam ripper, or you could try to use scissors. What I do, I'm going to tear a small hole near the seam. You don't want to cut to tear a hole in this seam, but just next to it. And you want to make sure you only go through one layer of fleece when you make this hole. And I only went through the top part. So now I'm going to repeat the same step, but to the other side. So I teared all in this one. Alright, now we're going to shove them full of polyfill. I'm going to use the hole to shove the polyfill in the arm. Or you don't want to fill them too much, so you want them to be squishy so they're nice and comfy. And then what you're going to do is just try to shove the polyfill to the front. This is how it should look when you stuff the arms. Now you're gonna have these two holes here that we're gonna have to sew up. So I do that by hand. So we're just gonna hand sew those. All right, so what I'm gonna do is try to blend my hole into this seam over there. How it looks when I hand sewed up the holes here. So once you finish that, you're basically pretty much done. Yeah, so this is your finished product. And I'm sorry if some of these parts were hard to follow. I recommend just keep watching them until you get it down. And if you guys are interested in purchasing this couch, I will have this couch for sale in my shop for $60. I'll have the links down below. Also, everything I used in this video, I will also have linked down below for you guys. All right, and then if you guys do have any questions, go ahead and comment down below. And also, don't forget, for the next tutorial, comment down below what tutorial you want to see next. And again, the next tutorial with the most likes or the most commented about tutorial will be the next one I do. And if you do want to see more tutorials, make sure you give this video a like. And if you do want to see more videos from me, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. All right, bye.